Let's talk about Julian Batchelor. Now, Chewy, you know how careful I am with my accusations and my words.
You're way
So
more careful than me.
For me to say someone is lying, right, a liar, then the evidence has to be pretty nailed down. You know what I'm saying? So Julian Batchelor was on with Karen Plunkett, I think 2 days ago. We got told about it yesterday because we had a very good show last night where people were telling us about how Julian Batchelor was crying on the platform. And so I went back and I did it so you don't have to. Trust me, it was hard. I played it super fast forward. So if I've missed one of the quotes, I apologize, but I got 3 of them. This is Julian Batchelor. I've got 3 clips here, and this is his account of Victoria Jacobs being removed, who removed her, and who decided she was to be removed. Have a listen.
We got going with a meeting, probably 5 minutes into it. This lady suddenly put a whistle in her mouth, started blowing it furiously, and the people in there were just so upset about this because we explained the rules to them. If you disturb the meeting, you will be taken out. This is a private meeting. All the rules were explained. She fired up straight after the rules were explained to her. A couple of people just who were sitting kind of near her just took it into their own hands. We usually have the police take them out, but these guys were just so annoyed and frustrated by these people who are so disrespectful, so just trashing everybody's right to free speech. Pulled her out of the chair. They pulled the whistle out of her mouth and then pulled her out of the chair. She wasn't punched or anything. They just grabbed her by the scruff of the neck, and then she fell on the ground, and they got her by the legs, and they just pulled her out of the building.
Now, you got to bear with me. I got a few things to show you here. So this is what he said. This is a part of the quote that he said. The salient part is in red. For people who are listening, we have a quote up on the screen. You can go back and you can have a look at it. I probably need to be in that view, don't I? So we can see the screen. The salient part of what he just said was there was a couple of people just who were kind of sitting kind of near her and just, ready, took it into their own hands. They did it. Took it into their own hands, right? So the people that did it took it into their own hands. We usually have the police take them out, but these guys were just so annoyed and frustrated. So that's really clear, right? He's saying there were some people that just acted on their own in the meeting. Now, you would think, slip of the tongue, interesting. But in this maybe 10-minute interview, he's basically said it 3 times.
We say to them, you broke the rules, I'm trespassing you, and we're getting the police to take you out. That's what the protocol is. But these couple of guys just said, this is so bad, we'll just do it ourselves.
Okay, so you do have the
again, here's the quote. The red writing is the salient bit. But these couple of guys just said, this is so bad, we'll just do it ourselves. So the people in the audience did it themselves. They did it.
Just
they made the decision and they did it. Right? Remember, this is the second time he said this in the same interview. There's a third.
They should leave it to the police, but you know what? We can't say what happens because sometimes people in these, we got some big guys who come to these meetings and they're farming types and they don't muck around type of guys. And you take a risk. If you muck around in our meetings now, you take a risk that you could be manhandled before the police get to you. It's not my fault. It's just how it is. We say to people, don't manhandle protesters. Let the police do it. But sometimes things happen quickly, and that's what happened with this lady with the blue whistle. The guys just took it into their own hands, and she was hauled out. That was it.
The guys just took it into their own hands, and she was hauled out. Now, this is a longer quote. The bit in red is but that's not the full quote. But I took the salient part out and it's in red. You take a risk, you could be manhandled before the police get to you. It's not my fault. It's just how it is. We say to people, we, the organizers, say to people, don't manhandle protesters. Let the police do it. But sometimes things happen quickly. And that's what happened. This lady with the blue whistle, guys just took it into their own hands and she was hauled out, and that was it. We, the organizers, we say, don't touch people. Don't manhandle people. That's what we always say. But sometimes the people in the meetings, they just do it by themselves. We don't want them to do it. We haven't asked them to do it. They just do it by themselves, Chewy. Should I keep going?
notoriously hard to control is your pocket Nazi that comes along.
But Julian's the person who stands up the front and says, we don't want them to touch people. We don't do this. And he's kind of saying, he's not quite saying it's a bit unfortunate, but he's kind of leaning towards it's a bit unfortunate that these guys in this meeting, they took it off no one encouraged them to do it. They just went off it by themselves and they decided to do it. Let's have a bit of a look at the actual, this is the clip people have seen before. Let's have a look at the whole clip first.
Touch me. Don't touch me.
Because remember, I've actually put a, and look, he's saying, we get the police. This is Julian Batchelor saying, let's get the police. You won't be able to hear him as clearly. I'm turning it down because of the whistle, because she's even disrupting us, Chewy. So Julian Batchelor at the start is basically saying, get the police. We've got to get the police to come and arrest her. So he's right. That's what he said. We tell the police, look, someone should be filming her, is what Julian Batchelor is saying. Make sure people are filming her, is what he's saying. And then he speaks to someone called John. You got to go and get the police in here to arrest her. And then, these guys that just take it off, they don't get told to do anything, just off their own bat. They just do it off their own bat. And Julian Batchelor is going around telling all the media at the moment that they just do it on their own. They don't actually, we don't actually encourage them or anything. What do they say? They just took it into their own hands, Chewy. That's what they did. They just took it into their own hands. I had nothing to do with it. Until, of course, he said to people in the room to take the whistle off her. Right there. Take the whistle off her once. Take the whistle off her. No, take the whistle off her. Don't worry about it, he said. Take the whistle off her. 5th time, take the whistle off her. Doesn't quite feel like it's just these guys off their own bat, Chewy, to me. Just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel quite like that. And then of course he actually tells them to get her out. The last comment about to come up. Okay, take her out, please. Take her out, please. So that was the last comment. So let's just have a look at this again. I won't play the thing, but you can read it with us. Julian Batchelor says, take the whistle off her. I think 5 times. He says, yeah, take the whistle off her. Nah, take the whistle off her. It'll be all right. Take the whistle off her. And then I think another time, take the whistle off her. That doesn't feel like when he said that, these guys just took it into their own hands. Because what I hear is someone instructing from the front what to do. He then went on to say, quote, okay, take her out, please. So, Chewy, I'm confused because he's telling the media that, we always get the police to do this. That's our policy. We don't want people manhandled. We never tell people to manhandle people. And sometimes people take things into their own hands, but that doesn't seem to be the evidence, Chewy. How do you feel about that?
I feel that that's pretty cut and dry, that Julian Batchelor is a dirty liar. He's telling big fibs, big porky pies, that he is man that not really negotiating from a position of strength as well. Maybe not playing a straight bet.
The other thing that confuses me about this whole thing, Chewy, is Julian Batchelor is so he finds it so important that you have to tell the truth all the time. Like he genuinely thinks it's important. This is an Anglican priest that went into one of his protests, right? I'm going to play about the first 30 seconds for you, which is not an interaction with Julian Batchelor, but then he has an interaction with Julian Batchelor. And guess what? Julian Batchelor thinks lying is the worst of the worst. You should never, never, never lie.
Just the Anglican priest.
So?
In about 20 seconds, he starts talking to Julian Batchelor.
Well, people might wonder what you're up to if you're kicking the local priest out of a room. Oh, I don't know about that. Seems like the biggest crowd's outside.
Here he comes.
So you're actually trespassing. And you weren't on your list, and you told us you were, so you lied.
Yep. You lied.
It's just when he's talking.
So if you can't hear it, he said you lied and you're an Anglican priest, and that's not a very good testimony. Now, for people who don't know, that's a Christian term for meaning, showing to people outside the church world what an honourable person you are. If you lie, it's not a good testimony. I'll play it again.
You lied as an Anglican priest. Not very good testimony, my friend.
there's just when he's talking about lying, there's nothing true in this trash that he's putting out here.
Nothing justifies lying.
Did you get that one?
Nothing justifies
lying. Julian Batchelor, I'll play it again.
Putting out here.
Nothing justifies lying.
Well, then why are you lying in here, Julian? Why are you lying in here? Why are you lying in this?
Nothing justifies lying.
You accuse me of lying, and there's nothing but lies in this book that you're putting here.
What would Jesus?
I don't know,
what would Jesus think of you, Anglican priest, because you lied? What would Jesus think of a liar? Because nothing justifies lying. What would Jesus think, Chewie?
An actual priest.
An actual priest.
Jesus think of you when he said to welcome the stranger and the foreigner and the Samaritan.
Not into an uninvited guest into a private meeting.
Wow, that's interesting, isn't it? What do you think Jesus did with uninvited guests?
He would say,
What did he do with uninvited guests? What did Jesus do with uninvited guests?
The Pharisees and the Sadducees, he got rid of them.
He got rid of them. And so you calling me a Pharisee and a Sadducee?
Cast them out.
I'm a Pharisee and a Sadducee, am
That's
I?
what I would say almost.
Right, okay,
You're not
okay.
telling the truth. You didn't tell us the truth when you came in here.
Right.
Right. I'm glad you're finished. Thanks. That's all we need.
So you can see, and let me just explain to you as again from my Catholic upbringing, that Pharisees in the religious world are sort of the people who were running the church before the Jesus character came along. They were very, very religious. They basically said everyone else was unholy. They were the only holy ones. So to call someone a Pharisee is basically calling them a religious liar. Exactly what Julian Batchelor is. Projection much? I think so.
It's always projection.
But
always projection.
The thing that confuses me, Chewie, as an innocent little guy here, is he has a real problem with lying. So I can't quite figure out how he says two things that oppose each other and it still be the truth, because it wouldn't be a lie, because nothing justifies lying, Chewie.
No, nothing at all. Straight to jail. Straight to religious jail. I want to raise a couple of side points here, right? Right throughout Julian's website and all of this is that you can get a free copy of his book, right? It's a book. It's a book he's written. He is the author of a book. Did you see the book in the priest's hands?
No.
Did you see that it had quite a bit of flex just as he's holding it?
I thought he was holding up like a pamphlet.
Correct. That is the book that Julian's talking about. I've seen it. It is a pamphlet. It is maybe 15, 20 pages.
Right.
So I love that. Serious author, Julian Batchelor, and his pamphlet. The other thing is, he says, you've lied. You're not on the list. You can't come in. Remember, he was putting out brochures in people's letterbox saying, come along to this private meeting. So it's just bullshit. There's not a shred of truth that comes out of that man's mouth at any stage. Good on that Anglican priest. Good on him.
Yeah, fucking oats.
Like if Julian's going to stand there and say, I'm a man of religion and this is all God's plan and that sort of thing, to have another man of God stand up and go, hey, hang on, no. That's like when people talk about using your privilege, that's what it is.